So, welcome to the Love in Action Women series. Jyothi, you are our first guest.
Oh
So,
my
it's
God.
an honor to have you with us. It's an honor to be able to explore topics that not only empower women, but heal the path and embody the path for other women to just heal and be. And so, this is a wonderful beginning. And to start this, I just really wanted to have a short meditation led by Deepak on the archetypal feminine. So, Deepak, if you may, just take us to a short meditation where we're able to distinguish each archetype so we can start our in depth conversation. Thank you, Deepak.
Okay, if that's fine, Jyoti, should I do that?
Absolutely. I would love that. What an honor.
Okay.
Thank
So before I go into it, when we talk of archetypes and the divine feminine, in the Western literature, I'm referring to the work of the great transpersonal psychologist Carl Jung, who was a fan of Eastern wisdom traditions, but also a scholar in the unconscious, in the realms of the unconscious, the subconscious, which governs ultimately our conscious mind. Our conscious mind is like the blip, the wave in the ocean of consciousness. And the ocean is vast. The ocean is personal, collective, archetypal, universal. And we are a little blip in that. The conscious mind. Every thought you have comes from a deeper source, and the ultimate source is what in wisdom traditions is called pure consciousness. Pure consciousness means without any conditioning whatsoever. We are all conditioned. As minds, we are conditioned. Um, Women have been conditioned to be subjugated through thousands of years. That's part of our conditioning. But there's other kinds of conditioning. Caste system, the royal monarchy is another caste system. In England, we've had a caste system in India. But if you look at every society, there are hierarchies that have been a result of conditioning. The conditioned mind is the fragmented mind, and the conditioned mind is also the separate mind. But as we go deeper into the ocean of consciousness, we recognize that everything is entangled. Matter is entangled, atoms and molecules are entangled, thoughts are entangled, emotions are entangled, and our personal consciousness and our minds are also entangled. But at the source of it all is what is called pure consciousness in wisdom traditions, in Buddhism, in Vedanta, but also in Christian Gnostic traditions. The source of all experience has to be awareness. What else could it be? Without awareness, there's no experience. So, as we go deeper into this realm of personal identity, collective identity, archetypal identity, universal identity, the deeper we go, as the Beatles song said, the higher we fly. And so the idea is to go a little deeper beyond the conditioned mind. In India and Eastern wisdom traditions, these archetypes are very familiar. You know, Saraswati, the goddess of wisdom, culture, art, science, music, poetry. Lakshmi, Mahalakshmi, the goddess that brings affluence and abundance. We have Durga, the slayer of the veil of ignorance. In Tibetan traditions, we have all these taras, white
you.
tara, green tara, all the
The
dakinis,
Dakinis, the Raja Yoginis.
all of them. So it's universal. Angels in the Bible, fallen angels, divine angels, some women angels, but mostly male angels. Uh, so today, what I'd like to do is explore with all of you the 7 dominant Greek archetypes because they have influenced Western culture although I've mentioned before to Gabriella, it's not far apart. The Western culture, Plato, who wrote the original allegory of Plato's cave, um, was a student of Socrates. Socrates taught Plato, Plato taught Aristotle, Aristotle taught Alexander the Great, who came to India, took back some of the knowledge back. So it's all actually one school of thought with different names. So today, because the West is more familiar with the archetypes, I can lead you through a short meditation encompassing the seven main archetypes in Greek mythology, with just this knowledge that these seven archetypes are actually the empowerment of the divine feminine, not only in women, but universally in men as well. The male archetype.
That's
The
beautiful.
male archetype has served its function. Hunter-gatherers, we needed the predator, conquest, and predation, and control and power of a different kind. But since the age of agriculture, when actually the first matriarchal societies emerged, was 12,000 years ago. And then, of course, we've now moved to the age of technology and science, but the archetypes still govern our conscious mind. And so today, I would say that the next phase of human evolution has to be the feminine archetype, which combines all aspects of power and beauty and intuition and creativity and nurturing. So here's the meditation, okay? Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, sit comfortably and uncross your feet on your legs. Keep your feet firmly on the ground and keep your hands open in your lap. Keep your back relatively erect using a backrest, chair, whatever. And let's start. So let me enumerate the archetypes and what they stand for. And think of archetypes as part of our collective subconscious, collective unconscious, but also symbols or modes of knowing or modes of energy or modes of awareness of a higher consciousness that goes beyond our ego identity. This is what empowers us. So, with your eyes closed, see if you relate to any of these archetypes right now. And the first one in Greek mythology, but universal, Egyptian, everywhere, is Demeter. Demeter stands for mother. We all begin our journey, male, female, doesn't matter, transgender, non-binary, we still come from a mother. Okay, so the first archetype is mother. And what I'd like you to do is now have a vision of motherhood. Maybe your own mother. Maybe a divine mother. The mother that nurtures, that gives us affection, that accepts us unconditionally. The love, nurturing, affection, tenderness. Now let's switch to the second archetype. In Greek, Hera. Hera stands for power, but not agency power. Agency power comes from money, comes from title, comes from job, comes from political importance. We're talking about self-power. So Hera is self-power. Of course, she can become the other forms of power. So think in modern times, maybe Indira Gandhi, whether you like her or not, Bandar Naike, whether you like her or not, Margaret Thatcher, whether you like her or not. These are her archetypes. And CEOs of major companies. So right now, evoke an image of self-power, which is immune to criticism, which feels beneath no one, and which is fearless. That's Hera. The name doesn't matter. She represents power, self-power. Keeping your eyes closed, move to the third. We're talking about creating an image in our own consciousness. It's part of, in India, they call Tantra. Tantra, Yantra, Mantra involves a vision, involves a mantra, involves being aware of what you're imagining and your intention. So Tantra is intention, vision, emotion, breath, and awareness and intention. Third archetype, Athena, similar to Saraswati. Art, music, culture, poetry, science, technology, whatever your image is. Think of all the great scientists, the great authors, the great poets, the great musicians that represent the divine archetype of wisdom and culture. And now move to the fourth archetype, Aphrodite. Represents beauty and love and sensuality and sexual and spiritual energy all combined. Aphrodite, Kama Devi in Eastern wisdom traditions. Modern times, think of Marilyn Monroe if you want, even though she was a disturbed Aphrodite, but had impact on our society. Bollywood, Hollywood, all the great luminaries in the world of music and entertainment have a big voice in our world today. Aphrodite. And now let's move to the fourth archetype, or rather the fifth archetype, Artemis in Greek, Diana in the Roman equivalent. She's connected to nature, to plants, to animals. She's going to help us reverse climate change because she connects with nature. Artemis, Diana. Actually, Princess Diana was a Diana archetype. Whatever your image is. Six, Persephone. She's the alchemist, the healer. She actually navigates the unconscious mind, transformation, healing. She swims in the ocean of consciousness beneath the surface of the conscious mind, makes correlations. So also, she's a creator, original creativity. Persephone, the healer, the alchemist, the creative symbol of the divine feminine. And finally, let's move to Hestia. She's the homemaker. She knows what makes a great haven for our collective home, not only our personal home, but planet, Earth. She's also in charge of anything that we call a family. Anything that we call a family. Social family. Global family. So these are the 7 symbols of empowerment. Now, keeping your eyes closed, choose anyone that you relate to. Look at the image and let it go. And now we'll actually go into what is called sankalpa or intentionality. So choose a couple that you relate to emotionally. Look at them and let them go. And now observe your breath. And feel your body. And bring your awareness to your heart. And we will anchor this experience as always with the mantra. The mantra is just means instrument of the mind. Man means mind. It's the origin of the word man, woman, human. Tra is instrument of the mind that takes us beyond the conscious mind. So here's the mantra. You can let go of everything and just mentally start to recite the mantra. In English, it would be, I am. At this moment, no name and no form attached to it. We have already identified the archetypes. No name, no form, just the mantra, I am. Please repeat it mentally. If you're distracted, come back to it. And if you want, we can go to the vibration of I am, which is aham. If you prefer, om or aham. So just repeat the mantra. No name, no form. Please don't mind the time. I will watch it for you next 30, 40 seconds. Now release the mantra, let it go, keep your eyes closed and rest in awareness, rest in the presence of your own being. Awareness is who we are. Awareness has no shape, no form, no age, no location in space, no existence in time. Timeless awareness is who we are. So just rest in your own being, in your own presence for a few seconds. And now you can relax into your body and please open your eyes. So that's seeding divine feminine in awareness for everyone.
Amazing. How do you feel, Jyothi?
Oh my God, what a beautiful meditation, Deepak. Thank you so much. I feel so fortunate to do this with you. I, of course, am thinking about all of these incredible archetypes, and maybe it's not unusual to say this, but isn't there something about every single one of them that you can relate to? And, you know,
Yes.
maybe part of the full female self is a little bit of everything in there, right?
Yeah, I was thinking actually, Jyothi, that if we had a prime minister or president and a cabinet with these 7, we'd be all set.
Great, yes. Or a team in your organization. You know, I lead a fashion business, and I think I look at everybody around me, the leaders who drive our business, and they're all so very different from one another, you know, but that alchemy, if you will, that coming together of all these beautiful characteristics and attributes is maybe what makes the full self. With all the weaknesses and your vulnerabilities and your strengths. And, you know, I think we grew up in India. I grew up in India as a child, and I think we're very accustomed to female goddesses. And I love that, you know, the goddess of wealth and money in our tradition is a woman, which is not, you know, traditionally how women are thought. So I think I just love that. Thank you. That was really beautiful.
Was there one archetype that you connected to more, and would you be willing to maybe share how maybe that archetype that you connected with has shaped your life? Maybe that's been the guiding force in your life, and because you've created this whole realm of possibilities for who you are. You've created a legacy for yourself and others, and you're inspiring entrepreneur. And what I'm curious to know, what archetype helped you not only deal with strengths and create strength, but also helped you cradle vulnerability as well? Because that's what you just said. You mentioned, you know, we also have vulnerabilities in our teams, and how do we embrace that? So ultimately, my what I'm trying to get here is I'm just trying to hear what shaped your reality until now, and what were maybe the struggles that you had to face in the mental space of, you know, women's empowerment. What were they along the way in relationship to an archetype, maybe?
That is a very profound question. Thank you, Gabriella. I think, you know, I think if I had to look back at my life, I would say that probably who I would have related to as a younger person would have been different than perhaps who I relate to now. And perhaps even because of the moment that we're in and what we've all gone through in the last 12 months. I think for me, you know, as Deepak was speaking about each of them, I thought, oh yes, I can relate to this one and I can relate to the next. But the one that maybe really struck a chord for me was maybe Tantra at this point. And perhaps it's because you had described that as having intention and awareness. And I think if there was ever a time that we had to dig quite deep in these last few months, you know, to really think about what we valued and what was important and what was not, and how we had to live outside of ourselves. You know, I think in our society here, especially here in America, where we are based, you know, I live, and our company Intermix is at, you know, we are very an individualistic society. And here we were, you know, in this year where we had to be so aware, both physically and metaphorically, you know, of everything around us. And so I think for me, that one really resonated at this moment, because through this whole 12 months, you know, we were trying to survive as people, as individuals. We were all scared for our health and well-being and those of our loved ones, but also as a leader of a company, you know, as a woman leader, I had to show up every day. I'm very proud that at Intermix, 80% of our company are women at all levels of our organization, which is
incredible.
I love all the men also who work with us, but I'm very proud of that. And we serve customers who are mostly women. And, you know, I think to wake up every day and to push forward, you know, your whole organization and then your home life, and to do that, I think the quality to me that was so important was awareness and intention.
That's
you know, just wake up every day with clarity of what was happening in the broader sense, and then right in front of you, and then just with purpose move forward and really have intention in what you were doing. And many times it was scary because you weren't sure if your intention or your decisions were going to be the right ones. But, you know, we were all in survival mode in some way, shape, or form, either for our own lives or for our companies. You know, so many companies have gone out of business in the last year, sadly.
Mhm.
And so I think that survival and pushing an entire group of people forward every day, getting them to wake up every day and feel motivated to keep going and to keep creating beautiful things like we do in our business, in the fashion business. I think, you know, you have to feel inspired every day. And so I think to be able to do that every day required a lot of awareness and intention, I would say. Obviously, the other archetypes that connect with creativity were also tempting to go to, but I'm going to pick that one.
But that's very interesting, because I like you, I believe that we embody the different archetypes at different stages of our life, but also maybe at different moments in the day. You know, when we're in our survival, especially, you know, the last year, it's been over a year now in this global pandemic, we have been in a different mode of awareness. We have been in that state of awareness where there's part of us that needs to survive, because we actually don't know, as a human story, we don't know how this human story is going to play out. So also we had to create tools. We had to create mental hygiene tools, mental tools that allowed us to pursue the dream or the archetype that we embody, because we do pursue something that we embody. We just don't know what it is sometimes until the end of the story. You know, so it's the path, it's the journey that matters, of resilience, I suppose, in that sense.
Gabriella, you've done so much amazing work in this space of mental health, and it is so important. And I just watch, you know, our company, for example, is mostly millennials. There are a lot of young people working in our company, and you know, it was a challenging year for young people who, you know, need that social interaction and need we all need that, but they need that, you know, very much so. And I know there's been so much difficulty with younger people in terms of mental health. So I think I really commend you for all the incredible things that you do. I think for me, if I had to dig in and talk about my tools, they're quite simple. I think I try to wake up every morning with sort of a positive and intentional outlook on the day. And I think that's just important, to go to sleep that way and to wake up in the morning. I roll out my mat every morning. If I have 10 minutes, if I have 45 minutes, I just make sure that I roll that mat out and sit there, and I do usually the Pilates or yoga every morning. And then I meditate, you know, a few times a week. Although Deepak and Gabriella, I must admit, I'm not great at it. So I'm on the beginning part of my journey, let's just say. You know, I think it takes
no fear there.
to quiet the mind. But I think just the intention of sitting down and saying, I'm going to try to, you know, be present and think about that, I think is helpful. And I think it puts so much perspective on things, right? I mean, I think there's so many people today who feel lonely and feel, you know, not connected with so many things. And I think when you really sit down and you have some quiet time, I think you realize that, you know, there's always someone to reach out to. There's always something you can read. There's always some practice you can have that makes you more centered and connected with everybody else, I think.
No, completely. And I think that, I'm sure, were you creating tools? Were you sharing your practices with the company, with Intermix, whilst navigating these times? Were you having more of those conversations there? Because I feel, as you said, the millennials, they need this physical contact. You know, it's true. And we all do. Ultimately, I started hugging my pillow, you know, 4 months into the pandemic. I was like, this is strange. I've never done this before, you know, so, and it was a physical reaction. And you wake up like that and you're like, oh goodness, there's something that's occurring here that I wasn't aware of, you know.
Well, I definitely think in terms of leadership, you know, this year, I think we all had to tap into empathy and compassion more than we ever have, which perhaps, you know, female leaders maybe are more naturally oriented towards that. So I think it actually served us well in this past year, because yes, you had to get a lot done. You had to make a lot of very difficult and unpleasant decisions. But being able to do those things and communicate the why and the decisions you were making with empathy and compassion and authenticity really matters. You know, it matters to people that you come from that place. And so we had to do a lot of that. And yeah, we had to speak, you know, to people very honestly about what was going on in their lives. I mean, you saw it on all the endless Zoom calls you were on all day long. You saw their lives going on right before you. You know, I have someone who works with me who's 3 young children, complete chaos in the background. It was as if it was pitch quiet. You know, it was like absolutely quiet in her room, and she would just tune it all out, and she would, you know, get her work done. And I would just say to her, I admire you so much that you can do this. But, you know, it gave us a window into everyone's personal lives. And I think it was an opportunity also to connect with people on a more personal level. And I think that there's also beauty in that. And through all this chaos and crisis that we had, I think it also forced us all to perhaps be more in touch with our human selves in how we led and how we interacted with people. And I think, I think I think there was a lot of beauty and creativity and empathy and compassion that came out of this year as well.
That's wonderful. And that's really why we've created and partnered with EBY. As you know, Renata Black. Yes. We partnered with her for Never Alone through Love in Action. And Love in Action is a principle of embodiment. How do we become Love in Action so that we can not only champion ourselves, but champion other women, champion other human beings who are in the space where they need a little help. They need a little boost, you know, and we have a principle of the 4 A's that Deepak, maybe you can mention briefly. And that will lead us into the last segment of our conversation, but we're championing women, and every woman has been an Andrea. With Renata, we've come up with these awards, and the Andrea Award is any woman who has championed us in times of vulnerability, when we weren't able to wake up, when we weren't able to feel good when we looked in the mirror, you know, when we aren't able to deal with 3 kids in the background, you know, and we always have that one woman or that one friend, especially for us women, who happens to be a woman, who helps us get through those fleeting moments of insecurity and uncertainty. And so Love in Action is where we're at. We've created these awards. So happy that you are a judge with us. And it really means a lot to us, Jyothi. Deepak, you are always honoring and supporting the divine feminine. So it's a constant joy to be obviously creating this Never Alone mental health, and then specializing in the mental space for women empowerment, which is so important to us. But this is really where we're at. And with EBY, we were able to create a toolkit, mental hygiene toolkit, that we offered a program for free for 3 months. That's still an ongoing program that everyone can access. And there are constantly tools being created because we co-create these together. Our reality changes every day. And us as women, we embody the different archetypes every day. And so that means that there's always a co-creation of healing and empowerment that occurs. And so Deepak is helping us, you know, lead this and empowering us to do this. So thank you, Deepak. But I just wanted to close on the last few minutes that we have together. Jyothi, maybe Deepak, can you share the 4 A's with Jyothi and all of us who will.
Well, the 4 A's came about when I looked at social science of happiness, which says happiness depends on your attitude, number 1, which is, are you seeing opportunities instead of problems? Number 2, success, financial success is important, because without money, nothing is possible in today's world. And number three, meaning and purpose. And in that meaning and purpose is how to make other people happy, which is the fastest way to be happy yourself. So the four A's are attention, deep listening, acceptance, not trying to change somebody because they're unique, being grateful for their presence, affection, letting them know that you hold their back, and appreciation, noticing their unique gifts, attention, appreciation, affection, and acceptance.
Oh,
That
thank
is
you.
so lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was wonderful to listen to you. I hope to be a student for the rest of my life. Thank you.
No, it was my honor, and I'm so humbled to have been included in this. And I look forward to the awards and all these incredible women that you're recognizing. I think it's just so fantastic. So thank you for letting me be a small part of it. And it was so wonderful speaking with both of you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I would love us to meet physically and reconnect when we're not being recorded.
Lovely. I look forward to that day.
Me too. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.